All right, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to talk more about Azure Active Directory. So go deep with identity management, enable multi-factor authentication, self-service password reset, and edit company branding. Okay, so that's Azure Active Directory. Okay, and again, we talked about this quite a bit in the previous section, but I'll go a little deeper into it here. The cool thing about this, again, is you can create groups. So you can have an executive group, you can have a sales group, marketing, um, IT, web department, so web developers, and then you can set up users in those groups and then give them policies. So everybody will have different permissions and different policies that they can work with. So think of a policy as a permission. So some people are going to have executive policies or permissions, and others are going to have their department's policies. And the best policy for Active Directory is to work with your executive department and work with the department heads and say, hey, what will make these departments the most efficient in terms of policies? If I, initiate policy A, B, and C, will that help or hurt them? Okay, and then kind of find a medium ground. Don't go to the extreme where you're locking everything down and then people are going haywire. Okay, a great example of Active Directory is I had someone working under me who was, I was in charge of them, but they were in charge of the IT department. I was building websites. So I was just kind of there to oversee them, not really do their job. I'd give them different tasks to do, and then I would watch what they were doing and then say, hey, what are you doing with this? And what happened was is they were kind of clinching down the permissions so people couldn't even download a file. Okay, now I understand being not uptight, but just, being strict on certain things so that the security level is there. However, not being able to download a file, people can't work, okay? Especially if they're getting emails that they need to download. Okay, so let's say they get an attachment. Well, you're restricting them from being able to download that. Okay, and when people can't work, they get upset. And when you have a lot of people having problems, you get swarmed with calls. And again, I'm going to reiterate this. Whether you're CEO, CFO, CTO, the janitor, whoever, you do not want your IT guy running around the office fixing things. What you want them to do is you want them to sit at their desk and wait for fires so that they can put them out. Not create fires so that they have to put them out all over the place. That's not the job of IT. The job of IT is to have everything operational and running. And then if you need to do massive updates or changes, you do that on the weekend when people are home. So that way you have time to troubleshoot and fix things and get it working. Well, that's not what happened here. I wasn't necessarily paying attention. I knew what was going on, but I just wanted to let it happen because I was a little irritated with the place I was working at, and that was wrong on my part. However, I couldn't stop it because the person that was employed, brought in, they basically were given more and more power over time, and I was kind of pulled away from that position, and I didn't want any power. I was done with it because of all the problems I experienced. And so once that had happened, I literally was off in a cubicle working, and I wasn't answering any more calls or dealing with any more issues until they were fired. And then I was brought back into the whole fold, and I was able to just kind of pick up where I left off and, get things fixed and work with our vendor that we had to kind of get things back where it needed to be. So those are the good, the bad, and the ugly of Active Directory. Active Directory is great, okay? And whether you have a team of 10 or 300, I recommend using Active Directory because, again, what it does is it centralizes everything so that you can easily access and edit things. So let's just look at the portal of Active Directory real quick. Let's do it later. You can start with Azure free trial, so I'm not going to start a free trial. But manage Azure Active Directory, manage access, set smart policies, and enhance security with Azure Active Directory. access student benefits. Okay. So these are different things you can do. So Quick Start Center, virtual machines, app services, storage accounts, SQL databases, okay, Azure Cosmos databases, okay, Kubernetes services, function app, etc. Okay, so what it does is, if I just go to manage Active Directory accounts, so let's just look at this real quick, just so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. We're not going to do a deep dive into this, but you could go here and look at users, okay, and I only have one. But here's what happened, and this is what I was dealing with the issues, is we had groups, okay, that were created, and there's no groups here, but we had multiple groups that were created, and what happened is that they were, the person that they had hired, he went in and messed up the groups, and the different policies were all changed, okay, and so the policies were changed, and then the IT department, or the IT vendor that we were using, was incompetent as well. When it came to this, they didn't know what they were doing. They oversold themselves to say, oh yeah, we got this, we know how to do this. They didn't know what they were doing. And what they should have done from the start, and I wasn't here when they started, was they should have set up Active Directory on the cloud, and if they didn't have it, they should have stayed offline until they could get online, and then do it. So here's another little tidbit of advice, okay? And this is just experience talking. If you have 10 computers, let's say you have 10 employees, okay, and they're offline, which means they don't have Microsoft 365, they don't have Active Directory, they don't have anything, okay? There are more benefits to having Active Directory than not. But if you have 100 people in your office, do not migrate to Microsoft 365 until you know all of the bugs and problems that you're going to run into, okay? And I'm not saying you're going to have that experience. I'm just saying that there's no way around dealing with problems when it comes to Active Directory. It's just part of the deal, okay? I think it's better to have it than not, but at some point it's not worth the hassle if you have a very small group of people that you're working with. Now, if you have multiple departments, let's say you have 10 departments and you have 10 people in each department, then this is worth it. But what you do is you slowly get them on. You don't just say, oh, we're going to migrate everything over in a day. You don't do that. You do it by groups, okay? So you do group one, let's say sales, and then you do marketing, then you do the web development team, and then you do etc., okay? And then that's how you get everybody on board, okay? So that is Azure Active Directory. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.